What's good, guys? As you can tell, I've been watching another Justin J video, so I'm gonna be reacting with some insight as usual. I never realized how many things I was doing correctly and then fucking up until I started watching Justin J. Like with Justin, the whole idea is that you should walk away and just focus on building yourself. Don't even care about her coming back. And as a byproduct, they do come back. They almost always, if not always, they always come back, bro. You only lose once you go back or once you let them come back in. Because I realized, like, in his most recent video, he was talking about how when a chick breaks up with you or a chick curves you, and then you move on and then you deal with other chicks, they still know what's going on. They still know that you're out here dealing with other women, and they feel away about it. They're like, fuck, I curved this guy and he can clearly get chicks. You know, I underestimated him and overestimated myself. And in my past, that has been the case with every chick I've ever dealt with. But because I wasn't on the pill, at least I hadn't digested the pill, I was still operating like a beta. I got them by accidentally acting appropriately, like, you know, masculine, just unprogrammed. And then I lost them by taking behavioral suggestions, basically, by not staying true to myself and being like, no, just stay on my, okay, fuck that bitch attitude. It wasn't usually a fuck that bitch attitude. It was usually it is what it is attitude. But there were a few instances where it was a fuck that bitch attitude. And even then, man, they still came back knowing about all the chicks I dealt with in the time between them, which was wild. And they only came back to see if I still wanted them. And then once they found out that even though that I had been dealing with other women, I still wanted them. You know, of course, I still wanted to hit. There was some I never managed to hit. But them knowing that was enough for them to feel like they took a W and then leave for real this time, like with zero curiosity. Because you see, the only way to keep her permanently interested is to keep her permanently anxious, bro. And once she feels like she can leave and come back, and you still want her, especially if you're dealing with other chicks, then she's like, oh, I got him on lock. I can come back after 10 years. They don't realize, you know, a lot can change in 10 years, including your mindset. But then I had another thought about another point Justin was making, as the rest of the manosphere does, is that you take the L, you move on with your life and upgrade nonchalantly, like you don't take the rejection poorly. She is going to come back because you upgraded and she wants to benefit from it, right? So I had another thought. It was like, is that necessarily a bad thing? Is it necessarily a bad thing that she didn't want you when you weren't necessarily her type, and now that you have characteristics of her type, now she wants you? It would be like you, like, let's take this to the guys. If there was a chick in high school who was a total butterface, skinny, you know, by matric, she still looked like she was in grade 6, she was just so physically underdeveloped, you know, shit like that. Like, she just wasn't sexy to your instinctual reproductive nature. But then you run into her when she's like 2 or 3 years into varsity, and she's put on a little, you know, weight. She's starting to get a little thicker, and of course, her face is improving as well as a byproduct of like improved self-care, being around other women who, you know what I'm saying, like, she's growing because she realizes she has to evolve. Similarly to how a dude gets his ass kicked, and then he gets rejected, and then he gets his ass kicked by the boyfriend of the girl who rejected him. Then he's like, fuck this. I need to get big and strong. Similar to that, bro. So, and then a couple years later, you meet her again, She might still be with the boyfriend who kicked your ass, and she's like, oh, he's looking good now. And I bet he wouldn't get his ass kicked now. And then she's attracted to you now, because she's always been attracted to big, strong boys, like the boyfriend who beat you up. It's just like that with chicks. If she's a butterface when you first meet her, so you're not interested, then she comes back a few years later and she's hot, or at least like attractive to you, and now you want to smash. Isn't it the same thing as her not being interested in you when you are a bum who hasn't realized your potential? Like, only you can see your potential. People aren't psychic. People don't have to believe in your potential. But does that make her a bad person for not believing in the potential you weren't showing that you had yet? Like, you weren't even showing a glimmer of the fact that you were moving forward. So now that you have moved forward and she's like, okay, that's my type, is that such a bad thing? Or is it just being attracted to what you've always been attracted to all along? She's attracted to a capable, competent man, just like you are attracted to a sexy, physically appealing woman. But that aside, I still believe, though, I was just asking if it's wrong for chicks to like you when you level up, just like we like them once they level up. Because even the chicks you had crushes on in your teens, you probably didn't even like really notice them like that when you were younger, and they had flat chests and they were just, their noses were covered in mucus and shit. Like, there's one chick from primary who's like really was down for me. We used to walk home together all the time. I just didn't really fuck with her because like she kind of looked unhealthy. She always had flu, her nose was always running, and on top of that, she didn't really even care to like take care of the shit, bro. Like, her facial she was pretty, but like all those liquids, the salivas, the eye shit, the nose shit, bro, no, it was just nah. There were some though who like saw past that and still were into her in primary school, but it was only after high school when I started noticing her like, oh shit, hey, you kind of bad, nigga. But by then she was already over me, so it is what it is.